Oh, we have, okay. All the chairs we have. All right, that's all the chairs we have.
Oh, there's the room. Bigger room. I know, I hate these chairs. I feel like my head's just so low. There's the
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:05. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for coming. By way of kind of logistics, there will be a two-minute per person public comment period. The mic is here. If you please state your name and address loud enough so it can be picked up on. Prior to the start of the public comment, I'm going to call upon Town Council Brian Leclerc to make a couple of observations in terms of what this hearing constitutes. And then after he is done, we will swing into public comments. And just please keep it orderly, respectful, and professional, because there's no reason for it to be anything else but. Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you wanted me to address contracts and items like that?
Yes, sir.
As to contracts, they are a legal obligation of the town of Seymour, and they cannot be reduced or eliminated in the current situation. Future contract claims and damages will be brought against the town of Seymour should you breach contract entered into. And number two, it's important to know also that under your charter, it's the Board of Selecting Persons, only the Board of Select Persons that can eliminate.
Can you speak up a little bit? I don't think they can hear you in the back. Take from the top.
I'll start again. It's still not amplifying, but I'll speak loudly.
Yes, please.
You,
Thank
you inquired regarding contracts. Contracts are legal obligations of the town of Seymour, and they cannot be just reduced, the payments under the contracts. You'll be in a breach of contract position, whether it be with a labor union, a vendor, or another entity providing services to the town under a contract. Also, under your charter, it's only the Board of Select Persons that can eliminate a position in the town of Seymour. That requires a supermajority vote, and it also requires a public hearing involving the employee as well. So you cannot, as a Board of Finance, eliminate positions.
Thank you. Okay. With that, I'll open the floor to public comment. Yes, sir. Please come up and give your name and address. Sir.
Over here.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Rob Petro, 10 Great Oak, Ridgeway. And just, you say you're dealing with unions. What unions are those?
The town has various unions among its departments.
Teamsters? I just wondering what unions they are.
I don't believe the Teamsters are part of the town.
I'm just giving that example, that's all. Just want to know what unions are dealing with.
Well-
Dealt with unions before. That's what I'm asking.
Well, the various police department, the teachers,
No specific name.
I don't have the titles to be honest with you, but
Just curious. I know you can't break contracts. You're right.
any other
Negotiate those sometimes.
Any other public comment at all? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, please, because this way it'll pick everything.
Christine Bray, 163 Plumgate Road. I just want to say, I really think the Board of Finance, you need to be ashamed of yourself with the top-heavy increases proposed on the town level. There's some huge proposed salary increases, 20%, 25%, and so on. You're posting apparently the administrative assistant to the first select woman at a range of $95,000 to $145,000, as I understand it. I mean, the highest teacher's salary on the salary schedule right now is approximately $100,000 with 2 master's degrees and the highest level of experience, highest level at, in the salary schedule of the town of Seymour. I really just find it appalling, and I also find it appalling when you look at the size of the town of Seymour population compared to Ansonia, which I think is a slightly higher population, but their administrative salaries do not compare with what's being proposed here. I really find it all appalling on this side, on the town side. And as the council has said, you know, the biggest thing in the Board of Ed budget, of course, are the contractual agreements with the teachers, which, as I said, in some cases are lower than what you're proposing here, but those are contractual. You cannot change those, of course. And probably one of the other large expenses has to do with special education and unfunded mandates from the state of Connecticut. I know there's some increases in there probably related to special ed transportation out of town if particular students require services that are not or cannot be provided here in Seymour. There's nothing to change that. That is state law, and those are some of the biggest increase or expenses there. But the Board of Ed has to fulfill those obligations. I don't think these administrative increases here, plus you have several new positions proposed, I just think those things are appalling.
Thank you. And I don't recall if I mentioned it, but each person making a comment will have 2 minutes to do so. Anyone else at all? Yes, come on up.
Hi, Kristen Harveling, 134 Davis Road, member of the Board of Education. I don't know.
Chris, go to the mic.
I don't know what your plans are for tonight. I just wanted to put out there that every time we seem to be able to make a cut, someone will invariably say, see, you have that in the budget. You could have cut it all along. And I just want to put out there for you all and for the public that even when we do find something to cut, it doesn't mean that it's the ideal thing for our district. So for example, not replacing a middle school social studies teacher, there absolutely is a need for another teacher, whether it is for special needs students, whether it is for tutoring services, etc. We don't want to lose that position. It wasn't that. Part-time secretary, not replacing hiring, again, not ideal. All it means is that things get pushed out to other people, and I'm a firm believer that once you put too many meatballs on top of the spaghetti, something falls off, it gets squashed, and it doesn't happen.
There we go. Okay. Anyone else with public comment? No one. Wow. Okay. All right, we will close under public comment. I think in the next phase of this, we received this late this afternoon, a revised budget from the First Selectwoman's office. So if I can call upon our First Selectwoman to go through some numbers.
Good afternoon. Anne Marie Pagonis, 101 Middle Meadow Road. Good evening. Since taking office, my team and I have been working to continue to move the town forward. We have done this with a series of both short and long-term plans. While troublesome in some spots, they are put forth with the understanding that is the best way to continue to move the town forward. To continue to stimulate economic development, to continue to make our town attractive for people to live and visit, and continue to enhance our schools. At this point, Mr. Chairman, I would like to walk through my suggested cuts line by line.
Floor is yours.
We're gonna start from the very beginning. Right?
Okay. All right. Questions?
I have a few questions, and this is in regards to some of. Yeah. All right, there we go.
There you go.
All right, so I have a few questions, and this is in regards to some of the things that we've been seeing and hearing about. So the first question that I have is your salary. Could you explain to us how that salary structure works, and when you did not take your increase in salary during COVID, how we got to this type of increase?
Sure. So when I came in on October 28th, 2020, I took over for Kurt. Kurt was at a $90,000 a year salary. When he finished his term, he was supposed to be, the next step would be $95,000. So when I got in at 21, I said, we were during COVID, I'm not taking a $95,000 salary. I will take the same. And if you look, I went to $87.65. 21-22. Actually, that's 2021. I actually took a cut. So I went to 87 to finish up first. Right.
Yeah.
21-22 was an election year, right? That's when I came in. So again, during COVID, the town was tough. We had some other things going on in town that we had to focus on and put money to. I took a pay cut.
Yeah.
I went to $85,362. In the 2022 budget last year, we still have financial issues going on. I took a pay cut, whether it was $5 or $10, it was $85,327. Through the pay plan that was introduced from HR when Kurt was here, every year is supposed to go up. Right? Okay.
Okay. Second thing that is this? Yeah, this is
There you go.
still kind of weird. All right, so the second big question that's floating around is explaining the difference in your administrative assistant salary.
Okay, so the administrative.
Approximately how many town businesses do you think that she's helped bring in since she's been in that position? Just an estimate. At least four. Okay, thank you. And then just one more question, because we already the town attorney already kind of talked about contract breaching and stuff. So the next
Well, we don't need them because
look at that. Now it's very lit.
Charge board.
Yeah, all right. Good luck. Recharge the batteries.
It's on.
yes.
Yeah, turn yours on, Joe. Those, turn them on. Yeah, just turn them on.
Turn them on.
Yeah, turn them on.
Fire them up.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Okay, we've had a little bit of technical assistance, so we can continue on. Excuse me. Thank you. You've heard from the first select woman, and Doug, just to confirm, the budgets at the last election, last referendum, the town side that got defeated was 26,258, 896, I believe. And the Board of Ed side was 38,225, 535. Okay. So if you take the town side, just to confirm, if you take the town side at 26,258, 896, and you take off Anne Marie's total of 215, 891, the winning number is? Okay, thank you. Just like to be sure with numbers. All right. That being said, any questions, comments, otherwise on the town side? suggestions, adjustments, anything at all to what the first select woman's budget is?
I think we should consider entertaining this. That's my comments and suggestions.
Chris? Any-
I would agree with that. I just have a question
Go
that was
ahead.
brought to my attention as well, Doug. In terms of revenues, it was brought up that the dog licensure revenue is at zero. Where does that go? Sorry. Page 5.
That goes to the dog fund, special revenue fund.
That's fine.
It was brought up.
All right. Anything else, Chris?
Nope.
Nothing? Betty Ann?
I have nothing, and I also would like to entertain a motion.
Okay, hold that motion for a moment, please.
I have no motion.
Bev? All right, Jim?
No question.
Bruce?
No, I don't.
Okay. At first blush, we are, to a certain extent, obviously, trying to do the best we can come up with. I think the electricity reduction is a key deal out of this. That's about 35% of the adjustment, which, if it holds true with the electric companies, fingers crossed, knock on wood, fingers crossed, all that stuff, will be obviously helpful to the town of Seymour, as it should be. If I can ask just a fast question on retirement, either Anne Marie or Doug. Doug, 22? The new numbers, I mean, your budget and the one we had passed are the same. No changes to anything in terms of people reductions, anything like that? Nothing changes? And this figures the SEMERS rate, the SMERS rate?
The current rate, we know Seymour's,
Yeah, please. Yeah, we're talking about the state pension fund that the town employees are involved in, so everybody knows.
we know that the savings to the town of Seymour is $444,000 for this year, but we are not banking on that.
Okay.
Because I don't want to bank on something that has not been voted and passed on yet.
No, I can understand that. I have no qualms with that at all. Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you.
And that's a large sum.
Yeah, that's
We had to.
a big deal,
Take that out.
obviously. Okay,
Into that before.
all right. Prior to
We have
Oh.
an idea when the vote is going to take place on that?
June, at the legislature?
Yeah. By June 7th?
Okay.
It hasn't gone through the final interview with Bonnie yet, and that's where it will go. And I don't know when that's coming yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to our state rep in the back.
Thank you.
Okay. That being said, I mean, I don't have any qualms with the reductions that have been explained and we're looking at. I mean, it's, the budget has to go down, and we just hope that, it's sufficient for those that are gonna be voting on it, that the downside has gone down. The big issue in the room now becomes the Board of Education, which also did not pass by a wider margin than the town budget did not pass. I don't remember the exact numbers, I just remember it was a higher number that got defeated by. Thoughts? Oh, okay. thoughts from anyone? And I will entertain at this point in time if the business manager or the superintendent would like to say anything, or the chairman of the Board of Ed, if you would care to introduce anything or make any comment. It's up to you. It's up to you. You have the opportunity.
Go. Chris Champagne, Department of Ed. Kind of what Brian touched on with the contracts and much more dental, so we hear a lot about raises and whatnot. So I thought we should address that. There's some things going around that say we have a $5,000 raise for administrators, that is the annuity, and we get that for decades. Other thing I wanted to mention is administrators, the average about $1,200. We're pretty much at our, they're going to.
$1,300? Okay. You had said 1.3 thousand. I was just, yeah. Okay.
I don't know where, we'd have to meet as a board, to make any decision. We're pretty much, well, we can go now without getting into that.
Okay. Okay. I think from a practical point of view, submitting the same number to the voters is going to probably have the same results. That's unfortunate, but this is what we're dealing with. That being said, does anyone have any thoughts on the Board of Ed number? Rich?
Okay, so we previously had 38,225,535.
Yep.
That was
Yes.
previous one. Okay. And let's see. The 38, this revised sheet here, 38,158,839. Doug, what is the difference between these two? The dollar amount?
66,696.
66,696.
Okay.
And if we were to use the 66,696 with the total town reductions, what's the total of reductions that we do this time?
$282,000 roughly. Now, keep in mind, obviously, we have a MERS requirement on board. The board is under present budget of 37,228,136, which is effectively it's called the bottom line. And
37,228,137, plus we have to include all their contractual obligations and include any debt or service required.
no, understood. Do we have an MER limit number, a baseline? That's the 37,228,136? That's what I thought. Okay. So otherwise, if funding goes below that, the state can penalize the town $2 for every dollar they get as a grant. And that's just shooting yourself in the foot. Yes, Mr. Bucci. Please, up the mic.
Regarding the minimum budget requirement, my understanding is that it's the prior year, as it relates to Seymour, it's the prior year budget plus the educational cost sharing funds that the town received. So when I looked at what had occurred last year versus this year, it was the 2021 budget plus that had been received, which is approximately $137,000. So when you added that, that became the new minimum budget requirement. So the floor essentially is only another $140,000. I don't know exactly how much the town received in educational cost sharing from the state this year, but whatever that number is, that essentially is your only minimum budget requirement increase.
Doug, do you know what our MER receipt is? Yeah, it's not the...
We're expected to receive 11 million.
No, not the ECS grant. No. We're talking about the reimbursement on the special ed, I believe.
The ECS,
Yeah, the ECS is 10 million.
according to what I downloaded from the state website today,
Yeah.
the educational cost sharing grant amount is $137,000 and change.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not following the discussion. Are you all, what cut are you putting on the table?
We're not putting anything on yet
So why are we having an NPR discussion?
because we have to be careful as a town.
I know, I understand that, but what cut are you talking about right now? There was a number that Jennifer put up that I did not hear.
So it was a 66,696.
What number is that?
That is the difference between what we put out last time and then a placeholder that is put in here now.
I don't understand.
Yes, go ahead.
We don't want to get the vote down to the point where we are forcing this MDR. That's not going to move our schools forward.
Understood.
That's not going
Right.
to move the town forward. We need to look at, what's going to pass for our town. But by giving the school the minimum is not going to move anything forward. They're going to have to cut teachers. They're going to have to cut staff. I hear what everybody's saying. I hear the residents. Well, that should be the absolute last thing that we put out. We still have two budget referendums, the 1st and the 15th. The thing that goes on the 15th should be the MBR. And that's really no choice. Right?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't disagree about, not wanting to push the limit because that is townwide, that could be disastrous. And we want to see, just in general, now that we're talking numbers tonight, to see where this can end up. The difference between your proposed budget and the one that got defeated is the 66,690,196. That's the difference between your original that you carried and what we had. I do think, however, setting the same number in front of the voters that got defeated, I think that's a no-win for anybody, school system voters, anybody. That's not going to happen. Sal?
I just want to make a clarification to your point.
Yep.
The factor that altered the MBR is the increase in the district's educational costs. So it very well may be how much did that $10 million
Go up from a year ago.
From year to year, because to the point you made earlier, to the extent that you don't meet the MB or the town loses $2.
It's 2 to 1.
$1, you wind up going backwards from where you were from the original amount of money you were receiving in the first place to the extent you'll meet that number.
And if I'm just looking at the numbers from the finance director, if our ECS grant is 10,850 and it was 10,669, we're talking about 130-something thousand, maybe a little more. But dealing with the matter at hand, okay? I think, well, first of all, any other comments on Board of Ed, amounts, reductions, no reductions, what do we do? Suggestions? Okay, well, anyway, in looking at this, I think probably to try to be as fair to the town and the Board of Ed as we can, if we're at 66,696, the difference in the numbers from what got defeated to what's been proposed under the select woman's budget. Yeah, no,
Bill, on
Go ahead.
the electricity,
yep,
you said the town side, you put down how much?
70-something thousand,
7,000.
it was like 70-something thousand,
77,000?
Yeah. 78,000 bucks.
Okay, is that what you considered when you dropped your number down the last time, Emery, to this?
Now, let me ask this, Emery, when you did the electric numbers, did that factors in or doesn't factor in anything with the schools?
Does not factor in, it factors in just the town bill.
Just town buildings, I thought. Okay.
Doesn't factor in the school. Remember, we put in the JCI,
Oh, yeah.
right? We put in JCI, but with the JCI, what we didn't factor in when we went with JCI was moving the Board of Ed up there.
Yep.
And air conditioning the whole school, and the improvements we made in the pool area with the gas. So that wasn't factoring, so my number can't be taken and put towards.
No,
the school.
no, understood. Because Board of Ed has separate electricity, obviously. I think in that regard, because I have to believe that there's going to be, if the electric companies stay true to what everybody expects, then I would think as of July 1, your numbers will go down too in the Board of Ed. To what extent, how much? Sal?
So, just a bit of history, we paid a $50,000 cut in our original cuts that we made, the $516,000 cuts that we made, when we took the budget from 5.2% down to 3.8%, and that was a $50,000 cut. After the last meeting, in which there was a proposed cut of $434,000. Prior to that cut being proposed and made, we hadn't actually had any meetings about how we were going to need to deal with that. We then had a preliminary meeting, the Board of Education had a preliminary meeting to try to figure out the best way to deal with that, and we didn't conclude with having arrived at how we were going to meet the $434,000 cuts that went through the last referendum, which finally failed. So, we're looking at a potential decrease, as you're saying, in electricity. My understanding is it's a 6-month reprieve that's supposed to run from July to December, but when Mr. Burke was here, he and I had contracted to buy electricity through Constellation at a fixed price. Now, we can try to go out and buy another layer on top of another layer of electricity overlapping the periods that we bought for, which was for 3 years. And if we're successful in doing that during this period of rate reductions, then we could average it out and perhaps see a nice decrease, over a longer period of time. But it's not a direct increase or decrease in the actual bill to the extent that it drops below our contract price or what we are obligated to pay at this point. Right now, electricity charges are roughly around 25 cents per kilowatt hour on the demand. We're paying, the town also is paying roughly 12.8 cents per kilowatt hour. So we saw that go up from 8 cents, but clearly it was below what was now being charged in the open market. So it's kind of, money's fungible, and for us, it's not a function of whether there's another 50,000 to cut here or there. We're still struggling on how to deal with the $434,000 that was cut out in the last budget run, which has put us at under $1 million of total increase over last year in relation to what we were carrying forward. And so I just wanted to make the point that it's easy to isolate the particular item, but in the grand scheme of things, we don't actually know how we're going to solve the overall problem to begin with. That's really to be a function of where this exercise finally ends, and a number is delivered to the Board of Education as to what they have for resources, cash resources for next year. And then the hard work is going to begin with the Board of Education and Dr. Compton to figure out just how to make that work.
So the Board of Education has a contract to purchase electricity?
So does the town.
Okay. Through Constellation?
It was a joint,
Oh, okay, all right,
joint effort.
okay.
And we did it together because the buying power.
Well, obviously,
of the
yeah.
town gave us a lot more leverage.
Okay,
The old contract ran out in November of 2022.
okay.
Question to you.
Sure.
I think for me, the struggle that I have is that, as everyone's seen, that we have a line item budget for every single thing that passes through the town. I can't fathom how to do anything on Board of Education because we don't have a line item.
We have no line item authority on the Board of
And we don't-
Education.
right, we don't-
It is one line in
Yeah,
our
it's one
budget.
line.
How they carved that up
Right.
internally is by statute, their purview, not ours.
Right, and it's great to have that, but it's so distressing that that's, difficult for some of us to do the same thing that you're doing.
No, understood. I mean, there are no winners in any of this situation, obviously. Okay. All right, well, looking at all this,
We get the mill rate.
let's see.
Are we asking for a mill rate calculation?
Hang on, please.
We're getting there, still trying to figure out
So,
what the Board of Ed number is gonna be.
Let me
Okay.
direct one question to Tim, just a question on facilities. So everything you've heard on electricity and all is in line, you don't have any other information to add to it or anything like that?
Pretty much well said. Numbers are the numbers now.
Okay, all right, that's fine, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's
All
fine.
right, so it is what it is. So we come back to the Board of Education number. Any other questions on this for Mr. Bucci, the superintendent, Mr. Champagne? Well,
This is what we were
I think,
Yeah, the 38158, and the difference between what was there and this is that 66,
so Doug,
696. Which is weird.
just to double check, the final
66.
revenue that you've given us tonight to look at, you've got 35.98. That's considering the select woman's cuts. No, I'm talking about the mill rate that you've got on the revenue sheet, the property tax calc.
First platform that you put.
Yeah, so that, those,
Includes her costs.
that includes those cuts
66
plus the 66 to the Board of Ed. Oh, all right.
That number was only put in there as a placeholder.
No, I understand that. So what we're looking at for 64,201 is the 66 on the Board of Ed side coming down, and the 215,891 on the town side coming down. Okay, just so we get our arms around all of this and not mistake anything for other stuff. Okay. No, understood, the sale of the property and everything else. So, we are at a total reduction, overall town and Board of Ed, looking at these numbers, of 282,587? That's what we've got? Okay. So we are roughly, if I'm looking at this correctly, and I think I am, 770, we're about 920 over last year's budget on the Board of Ed, roughly. That about right, Doug, according to your number? 900 and change. Yeah, I don't have a calculator. Okay, 904, all right. Okay. Well, as I've said before, there are no winners in this process. Trust me. Okay. Final round of the table. Any comments on either the Board of Ed, with proposed reduction of 66,696, or the town's proposed reduction of 215,891? Chris, anything? Okay. Betty Ann?
No, sir.
No, I think this is what we really need to do at this juncture.
Bev?
Yeah, can we get that?
Point
0.4?
Jim? Anything?
Oh, 0.39.
Yeah, that's what I thought. sir.
Luce?
It's a tough call.
Okay, so we've got 0.39. Okay. Well,
If I may,
yeah, sure. No, go ahead.
Yep. Which equals
So,
this.
understand that my number that I put in there was a placeholder.
No, understood.
That didn't get slashed to smithereens. That's only 2.5 increase in Board of Ed. Realize that you're gonna have to put more in there because I don't know if that's gonna cover your raises. Their contractual agreement.
I don't-
know if that's going to cover that.
I'll direct this question to council. We can decrease but not increase.
At this point, yes, you have to come up with a revised budget
Correct.
right now on both Board of Ed and town.
Correct.
What happens to referendum.
Right. We cannot raise either number, or can we?
But I'm talking about my.
No, understood.
Well, your charter says you're to prepare a revised budget. It doesn't say reduced revised budget or increased revised budget. I think given the budget was, suppose you could,
That's why I'm asking the attorney.
so that would be a revised budget.
It would be, without question.
Mm.
If that's the question, let me ask this. Has there been any dialogue between our finance office and the Board of Ed finance office that everything would be covered? Because I don't think what we want to do is to approve a budget that can't cover, and understand the residents shot the last vote down, and I get all of that. But if we approve a budget that doesn't cover contractual obligations, does that end in, then I would think ends in a referendum situation somewhere down the road to pull money out to fund their budget? I'm just guessing that, which I don't think anybody wants to do, or we're going to try to avoid that. To that I'll ask, has there been any dialogue between,
When I presented the budget, I put a page in the budget that was presented that broke down by dollars and percentages, what the contractual obligations were and what the ancillary costs are, MERS
yeah,
and things like that, like in social security tax, things that attach to contractual salary increases. To that, you would have to add the increase in special ed, because that's a contractual obligation. You can look at it any way you want, but by state mandate, we are required to spend that money and meet the IEP requirements of those students who live in Seymour who require such services. That increase in and of itself is a 1.1% increase on top of roughly the 2.6 or 2.5% increase that we had as related to the contractual increases. That was a function of the budget. And that's before anything else. So I would certainly, when I look at the special education budget, the district, as you observed in prior meetings, it's really out of our control to the extent that
no, understood.
we have to spend that money. So I would attach the word contractual. That's your definition. We are well over 3%.
Yes, Mr. Champagne.
I just pulled it out, the form that you sent, 3.7 after staff and so that's the
Okay. Okay.
That was the last cut.
Too low? No, I think it's the opposite. It won't be too high. I think that's what we're debating.
Do we have a breakdown of how many
What?
positions that we-
Excuse me? Loose, through the chair. What's the
No,
question?
I'm just very confused. I'm just curious about how many new positions are in your budget for what you presented us? Are,
The Board of Education, there are no new positions. We basically have decreased.
you're not adding any new positions this year? Okay.
Only thing we had was a preschool position, and that was done back early in the winter because it was a step annual, because we needed 3 preschools. That was the end of the-
Well, one of the
Just
things,
curious, I thought that would
what
be.
we can do is, if we go with the Board of Ed number that's the placeholder, 38,158, 839. It's on page 24, 24 of 24. Oh,
Somehow, I got an extra page.
yeah, okay. Okay, well, anyway, if we go with the placeholder number, then the way I'm looking at this, the contracts, whatever they may be, in terms of personnel and all, would get satisfied, but obviously the hit would come through other lines. So payroll would be covered, benefits would be covered, but the reduction would come through other items. If there's a blip on this, whatever it may be, probably doesn't come to fruition until down the road at some point, maybe a year from now, or a little less than a year from now. We hope that doesn't happen. But I think, again, we've heard what the voters have said about the Board of Ed budget. I mean, they couldn't have been clearer. So to address all of this, I think at this point to go to the next round of voting, I'll enter, if no one else has any thoughts, numbers, changes, anything at all, then I'll take a motion to go with the 282, 587 in total cuts being 215, 891 on the town side and the 66, 696 on the Board of Ed side. And as I said, there are no winners in this. So I'll,
64,201.
and the total budget would end up being 64,201,844, which is on my page 24 and your page 25, I guess. So, thoughts or a motion?
Lots of vote.
Or some other set of numbers?
Motions need to be made separately.
Oh, we can. Yeah, the motion, obviously make the town motion and the Board of Ed motions separately to come up with two different totals. So I'll take a motion on the town side, considering the 215,891, which would mean the town budget would be 26,043,005.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Board of Ed side. With the reduction, the Board of Ed number would become 38,158,839. Excuse me? 38,158,839. You're welcome. Or a better number.
I'll make the motion.
Chris, give the whole motion, please.
Motion to have the Board of Ed budget be 38,158,839, so a reduction of $66,696.
Second. Anybody? Jim, discussion? We've had quite a bit. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained, chair votes aye. Okay, now, total budget of 64,201, we've got two more motions that I want to go through. The total budget and the adjusted mill rate. So the total budget, given those amendments, 64,201,844. I'll take a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second, please.
Second.
Betty Ann and Lucy, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Finally, on the mill rate. The current mill rate we're operating under is 35.59 mils. Given the changes that we've just voted on to send to referendum, it would be a change of an increase of 0.39 mils for a new adjusted mill rate of 35.98 mils. I'll take a motion on that, please.
Motion.
Rich,
I'll second it.
Beverly, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye. So this is what will be referred to the next vote on June 1. As I said, and I'll just be a broken record, there are no winners in any of this, trust me. Hearing that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Betty Ann?
Second, please.
I'll second.
Chris, discussion? Didn't think so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
Huh?